Yes, people, welcome back to GNA TV and Chelsea Fan TV for the match reaction to the disappointing draw against Everton. Everton nil, Chelsea nil. Chelsea dropping 2 points. 2 points dropped. Well, it is 2 points dropped. As it's not good enough for Chelsea. We're going to talk about it. Lots to discuss. Some good performances from some, not great others. A ground that we're not very comfortable in coming to as well and playing. We would, and this is the difference with, and we're going to talk about it more in a second, obviously, with the whole title challenge thing as well, and people trying to put us in that title challenge bracket. But there's a lot to get into, guys. Make sure you smash your likes, subscribe if you're new here as well, and let's cue the intro. Yes, people, welcome back to GNA TV and Chelsea Fan TV. Give me 2 seconds. I need to check my audio, guys. Make sure it's coming through the right one. It is. How are we all doing after that result, guys? Chelsea dropping 2 points on the day against an Everton team and a ground where we just really don't like coming to, do we, guys? We really don't like coming to. We did lose, but we didn't win. How do you feel in the chat? I want to know. 1 point gain because Man City lost. 2 points dropped, with Arsenal obviously now 2 points behind us as well. Liverpool got 2 games in hand as well going into this one as well. Yeah, I just want to get your thoughts and feelings in the chat, guys. It's going to be a quick preview today because obviously I know there's football on as well, but it has finished 0-0, guys. 0-0 is the finish on this one. Lots to talk about in moments. Did we have chances? Yes, of course we did. Did they have chances? Yes, because we give people chances. Was you happy with the Maresca lineup as well? That's another thing I want to know with the Chelsea fans right now. How are you feeling about the decision to line up as we did as well? I hate Everton. Hope they get relegated. I am blaming Enzo Maresca, and he needs to stop making his subs. Should bring them on 60 minutes. And yeah, I agree partly with this. I do. I think Enzo Maresca should be looked at a little bit today with this. But I think this is an all-round. This is one of them ones where you look at it all round for me, and we're going to talk about it a bit more. Yeah, guys, keep smashing the likes. Over 115 people in the building. Keep chapping it, guys. Need it to share out if you can as well. Deduct 10 points from Everton, and they're so annoying, man. Well, they just played pretty much how Brentford did against us when we were trying to break them down. And did we break them down? We had 8 shots in the first half, 4 on target. 2 of them were criminally good chances that landed to Nicholas Jackson, who didn't manage to put the chances away. We're going to talk about them a bit more. Thank God we don't need to play away Everton and that stadium. And that's how I feel, because look, we have dropped 2 points. Yeah. And it just goes to show that we just struggle to play at Goodison Park. But every club has this issue. Doesn't matter where you go. There's always that one stadium that you go to where you just have issues trying to get 3 points. It doesn't matter who's playing, who lining up. It's just one of them things, and it is frustrating. Jackson not very good today. He had chances to score, but couldn't convert. Palmer was marked out, although all the way through. Sancho didn't make some quicker decisions. Yeah, this is why I said, if you look at the name of the title of this live, I said we wasn't at it. I just really think we wasn't at it today. Like it generally didn't feel like with the way we were set up that we were at it. I thought the lineup was slightly questionable with Gusto on the left and Disasi coming in. Even though I don't think they had bad games, but we saw in the first half Malo Gusto again playing in them higher pockets. Obviously, he had a chance with the header which went over the bar after. Criminally, Jackson should be finishing that chance, guys. I mean, let's not ignore that. 2 of them that were landed to him as well. And then on the flip side, you had the Sassu, who had a hard job over there, dealing with their best player on that side as well. And, he got skinned a couple of times. Yes, his lack of pace is a problem for us as well, playing him off the right. But that was a decision that Maresca made. He could have played Vega on left, and he could have played Gusto on the right. He could have inverted Vega and played Enzo further forward early in the game. Enzo Fernandez played more of a deeper role in the first half and got the ball. And was, to be fair, in the first, I thought he was the only creator in the team, really, the way he was pinging balls in behind. Obviously, he had that good chance from the corner as well, where he whipped a good cross in. And then it changed in the second half, where Gusto did sit next to Caicedo and Enzo was a bit further forward. But it never felt really like we, from the attacking side of things, you really, grasped it, Palmer needs to be subbed sometimes, is what Damir says. Maresca made mistakes after mistake today. Gusto at left back is not good. Listen, at the end of the day, yes, the balance was affected. Let's look at Cucurella as well, because Cucurella is the one that put us in this position, guys. Cucurella was the one that put us in this position today because he decided to get a stupid red card, didn't he? Jackson was not unlucky. He went back to old Jackson, 2 clear-cut chances, is what Cuzzy says. Interesting. Pathetic performance. Everton should have won the game, showed we are bottlers, is what Gary says. When I say bottlers, what I would say, and I think most Chelsea fans, most of us agree with this, I'm not speaking for everyone, I feel that we're all on the same page when it comes to not being ready to challenge for a title. And these are the type of games where you have to beat, and it doesn't matter if they're bogey teams or you haven't beaten them in a long time. We could have walked away 1-0 in that game. And I said it in my group chat to the boys earlier. I said, if we can just get the job done, win. I don't care how we win. I don't care if fucking 10 out of 11 of the players play absolutely awful. As long as you win, I don't care. Literally, I don't care. But where does it leave us now? Because now you look at the table as well. We all want Champions League, and I think we're setting ourselves up really nice for that. Nottingham Forest are actually doing the madders at the moment. I didn't even realise. 17 games in, Chelsea are on 35 points, 1 point. We didn't lose today, which means you have gained a point on Man City, which is a bonus. But Liverpool have got 2 games in hand. And with their 2 games in hand, they could go, what was it, 7, 8, 9, 40, 41, what, 6 or 7 points ahead of us again? So, do we need a favour from Spurs? Listen, no one can ask a favour from Spurs because Spurs is Spursy. More than anything, Arsenal are the ones that they should be looking at this and going, because they're the ones that are in a title challenge. Yeah, we know that they're supposedly meant to be better than us. They're supposedly meant to be above us. All of this and whatever. They're now 2 points behind us. Now, when you look at Chelsea and their run of fixtures going into after this one, matches. I knew this Everton one wasn't going to be easy. And let's be serious. We've been on a run of 6 or 7 games. Win. It's been pretty impressive. 2, 4, 6, 7 games where we've won. There was always going to come a case where we were going to eventually drop points, unfortunately. And it come away to Everton. Now, when I look at what we've got next, Fulham at home and Ipswich away. 2 games left. 6 points up for grab. Depending on what really happens with Liverpool today as well. They could win today. And to be quite honest with you, staying with Liverpool just means to me that we're going to finish in a higher spot and we're going to get Champions League right now. Not about just specifically challenging Liverpool, predominantly, which is what a lot of people are saying right now. But there's some winning, it's an awful display, worst game of the season. Fuck Arsenal, we played to their level. If Wolves get relegated, we should get Cunha. Chelsea can't even beat a relegation battle team. And you talk about Tavares. Brain focus, you must be brain dead because I wasn't talking about Chelsea challenging for a title. I was talking about why we aren't able to challenge for a title. So, yeah, sorry, mate. You might need to change your name there. Cho is better than any winger we currently have. I disagree. Sorry, Ramirez. I disagree with that one. Player James Fofana, why is he kept playing? His legs are glass. What do you mean? What do you mean, bro? Why are we talking about players that weren't playing today? Champions League is what I wanted at the start of the season. I'll be glad with that. Same Dark Knight. And that's what I think we are at the moment. Chelsea downfall. Skills. You've been waiting 7 games just to come in and talk about us drawing. Didn't even lose. Arsenal fans are affected, man. Imagine Arsenal fans coming in our chat trying to fucking have a little dig at us because we drew a game. Steve, what are you saying? How are you? Good to see you. Chelsea was lucky to get a point today, to be fair. No, look, we had our chances, AK. Let's not ignore that. Jackson, 2 criminal chances in front of goal where he should have buried, in my opinion, should have buried them. The corner and that moment. But they had their chances. And there's a couple of players that I want to talk about before we go into the ratings as well, guys. We need to beat Fulham on Boxing Day. Look, Fulham Ipswich is 6 points. 2 games in a row, So we'll see what happens. No, look, Everton were good. I don't think we played how we have played in terms of level. I don't think we moved the ball quick enough. I was moaning about the tempo of today's game. I don't think the tempo was anywhere near what we have seen from us, because I do think we could have opened them up. And there were moments when we did move the ball 1-2 quickly and got in behind where they didn't, they were a bit everywhere. But we didn't do that enough. We kind of lacked that build up today. That sort of, come on, let's go. Our wingers were kind of individually trying to beat players and create for whoever's in the box. We wasn't flowing as to what I've seen and what people have seen of Chelsea in these last couple of games, my opinion. What a Christmas for Arsenal. You know what I mean? Like, Arsenal fans are so weird. As if they're competing with us for like title or saying, like, guys, man, concentrate. You guys need to do your worry about yourselves and do your own catch up at the moment, because you guys are underperforming. Vinny, big up to you. Good to see you. Who was Chelsea's best player? Sanchez today. I would probably say Sanchez. I would probably go to say Sanchez on this one. But yeah, and that's where we're going to go now, guys. Keep smashing the likes, guys. Subscribe if you're new here as well. Run the likes up if you can as well, please, guys. Let's try and share it out as much as we can. Pies, I agree with what Pies said here today, though. He said games like today, where teams set up in a ridiculous deep block, is where we need that different profile with the likes of maybe a Samu or a Duran. Credit to the directors for identifying that we needed last summer, but now we have a window in January and we could do that. Listen, we are nowhere near complete. I still think we need a goalie. I still think we need a striker. I've said this for a very long time. I think we need a striker. I think we need a goalie. I'm still not 100% with our defence, even though I feel that our defence is, with Fofana's a bit, like we see just the guy said in the chat earlier, is a little bit like glass, but when he's fit, yes, he's decent, but I still think we lack that commander at the back. Listen, Cucurella missing today wasn't an easy one as well, because naturally it affects the balance of what we were trying to do today, because Cucurella has been very good for us the last couple of games, and he is our best inverted fullback, which means Enzo Fernandez would have played further forward. And that was a difference today. Enzo played deeper with Caicedo, was trying to get us going, but we left Palmer in the 10 on his own. And unfortunately, I don't think Cole Palmer had a very good game today. I thought he was wasteful on the ball in the first half. He wasn't making the passes behind that we used to see him. His crosses wasn't good enough, And in the second half, it kind of was a little bit the same. He won us some good free kicks outside the box with some link ups with Enzo Fernandez when Enzo was pushed a little bit further forward. But there wasn't enough. There wasn't enough, guys. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't enough anyway. That's what I would say. Skills, man. You've got to be the worst troller on YouTube, man. I swear. You've got to be the worst troller on YouTube, bro. I'm not going to lie. Right, let's go and talk about two players before we go into player ratings. The first one I want to talk about is Tosin, before we get to Sanchez, because this guy had been kind of left out a little bit, maybe because he won't play to the levels that Maresca has said. If people don't play to the levels that they do in training, they won't be able to play. But there was a good performance today from Tosin. He dealt with Calvert-Lewin on every aerial duel. His decision making on the balls were good. His defending, this right here was the difference between us getting a point, barring Sanchez's 2 saves, a point, or losing the game. Because the goal was open and he was the only one able to get across and throw his body in front of the ball. And he literally thrown his body at the front of the ball. Look at him, look at his eyes. Man's praying like, please. Please don't score. He literally threw his whole body and just closed his eyes. Like, great block by Tosin. And yes, Fofana's been out. He is naturally a right centre back. And we've seen Badiashile get forced to play in there. We've not seen Disasi really play much there. We've seen Vega not really being chosen as centre back. Tosin at this moment in time, and Colwell it should be our centre back pairing. And then you have your wing backs, Gusto, Cucurella, and whatever else at the moment. He has to be. And again, he had a very good performance today. And this is why I said it was only certain individuals for me that had good performances. But my God, what a block that was. My God, what a block that was. Yeah. 2 seconds. Where is he? Where is he? Guys, keep smashing the likes for me if you can as well. Please come on, let's get the likes up. Let's get the likes up. Let's get the likes up. If you're not slapping the likes, what are you doing, guys? What are you doing? What is going on here? Why is my computer so slow today? I don't know what's going on. But yeah, so, and then that equally brings on to my next point, guys. Over 200 people in the building, Sanchez, because in the last 2 games, I've got to say, this man has stepped up. My questioning with him, and it's always been, barring his bozo moments, I don't think he can still be trusted, was when we dominate games like we did today. Let's be serious. We controlled this game today. They had moments, but we controlled the game. We just didn't do much with it, you know, as we usually do, you know. But when he was called upon, he makes 2 very, very, very good saves. The one from Idris Gueye with the shot outside the box into the bottom corner. He gets a strong hand, low hand down, which was a very good save. But the best one again, and it was a little bit like the Brentford game, was the one where he came out and just opened his body out against, what's his name, on the right? The guy on the right for Everton, gear with H. Can't even think right now. Anyway, him, who had the goal right in front of him, literally had the whole goal in front of him. Sanchez opens out his body, and in them moments, and I keep saying it, in them moments is where goalies win your points or lose your points, and we need more of that. And he's doing that. I've got to give it to him. He's doing that. He didn't really make any bozo moments today because I don't think we really needed him much in terms of build-up play, but in terms of being, you know, doing your job and actually making sure we don't lose games when we're not, maybe not Harrison. That's it. Yeah. Maybe when we're not as firing as much as we usually are, he's done very good. And he's done that 2 games in a row now, Brentford and Everton. You know, the fingers have to be pointed today at the attack for me. The fingers have to be pointed at the attack. I don't think the attack was good enough today, even though we had chances. And there's a big reason for me why that didn't work. Not only do I think part of it's to do with Maresca, in my opinion, because of the way we were set up, but the other part is our striker, because our striker, Nicholas Jackson, has had very good chances in front of goal for us. Very, very good chances in front of goal for us. And they were created for him. You're a striker. You're in them moments. You need him to take it. And this is why I keep saying to people about the whole idea of getting another striker, because this is not to undermine Jackson. This is not to say that Jackson isn't good enough for Chelsea. This has got nothing to do with that, okay? But like someone said earlier on, the difference partly today is maybe a different profile in Duran or Samu or someone like that. Someone that could have came on and changed the game. We didn't really have. We brought in Kunku on, but again, it was well too late. Well too late. But he had 2 glaring chances today. He should have buried the first one. Cole Palmer receives it off the right and literally right foots it across the across the penalty box right in front of Nicholas Jackson. The guy hits the ball straight at Pickford. He could have just side-footed it away from Pickford into the corner. It'd have been 1-0. I know Gusto then missed the header after. Yeah. But the corner one, where it came in and he headed it and hit the post, he was 2 yards out and he hit the post. Like, he needs to be burying them. And that's down to him on his development phase for me. Because, yes, he's been very good and he's been over-exceeding in many ways. Yes. And he's working towards where he's working towards. But in them moments where we need to just win 1-0, 2-0, just not really playing well, and you need your guys to step up, Nicholas Jackson had to take them chances, and he didn't. And we didn't really make any substitutions. And I do look at Maresca in that, because I think Maresca today was well too late of his substitutions for me. He should have looked at it at 60 minutes and realised that for the first 60 minutes of football that he's been watching, we weren't really flowing well enough, especially with Gusto playing in them pockets. Now, we did make a switch with Enzo and Gusto. Fine, don't get me wrong. But I do think we needed... I would leave Neto on the pitch. He took Neto off. Fine. Sancho. I thought Sancho was okay, but we needed more directiveness against everyone. We need to get in behind them. You know, you need someone that could just attack the space. And we didn't really do that enough. But Jackson was created for. We did have moments in the game. It's not like we didn't create anything. And he should have buried them. Simple as. He should have buried them chances for me. I want to do a quick player rating, guys. We'll quickly go through some of the players. I want you got your guys in in the chat your votes as well. We're not going to be on too long today because I know the game's on with Spurs and Liverpool as well. So it's just going to be a quick, obviously a quick rating for you with you guys. But listen, I'm going to say it. I want to ask you guys in the chat, who was your man of the match today? Who was your man of the match today, guys? Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat who was your man of the match. Because if it wasn't Sanchez, it's probably close to Tosin for me. I think Sanchez probably a man of the match just on the saves that he made. I'm going to give Sanchez an 8 today. 8.58 today. Thought he was very good when called upon. Other than that, he didn't really have much to do. It wasn't like he was getting hounded with shots. But when he was called upon in some dangerous moments, he was there. He made the right decisions and he made the right saves. So at the end of the day, he's a solid 8. We walk away with a point. This is not too bad, right? Ray, I would agree potentially either Tosin or Sanchez on this one for me. What are your guys' ratings in the chat? I'd like to know. Let me know what you're just saying. I'll see what you're saying. Players would be fresh for the Premier League as we rest them. Man, they didn't really look at it today, did they? They didn't look 100% at it. And maybe it was down to the balance being a little bit effective from the way we were set up, or maybe it was just because we just wasn't performing to that level that we should have performed to. I don't, but yeah, for me, Sanchez, solid. He's got to continue with this. We've got Ipswich and Fulham next as well. Fulham and Ipswich next as well. So pretty, thick and fast. 6 points before the end of this Christmas period as well. So yeah, I'll give him a solid, at least a solid 8.5 for him. Let's move on from that. Disassi. Now this is an interesting one because it's one of them. Because I want to really moan about Disassi, but I can't because we're playing him out of position. We can't play a centre back in right back and expect much from it, guys. Like that's the thing. Do you know what I mean? You're like, it's not really fair on him because he's having to, fill in many ways or come in and perform to a standard which he can't do because he's just not that. But I don't think he was atrocious today, is what I'm going to say. I think in moments he got done and our right beat was a problem. And our right in moments was a problem. But in terms of the second half, I thought he was a lot better. I thought he won the ball quite well. Yeah, I just thought he was just, not bad, but I wouldn't say he was amazing because I don't think he was, that good. To be honest, yeah, he's just in between. So I'm going to give him either a 4 or a 5 max at Disassi. But like I said, it's hard for me to criticize. It's hard to criticize Disassi because, like I said, because he's playing out of position. He's playing out of position. So average performance 4, 5 is probably better. Hey, Abdullah, what are you saying, bro? Big up. Today was terrible overall. Need to slap Fulham. Yeah, we do. We do need to slap Fulham. Like, there's no doubts that we need to make sure that we get the job done. Sorry, guys. I'm just trying to make sure I've got. There's no doubts that we need to make sure that we get the job done. That's something we need to do in these next 2 games. But a 5 for me, maybe a 4 for him. But overall, I don't think the defense was a problem today. I really don't think we can sit here and blame the defense or our performance today. I'm looking more at our attack today. Tosin, I'm going to give him an 8, man. I thought Tosin was good. I thought he dealt with Calvert-Lewin. I told you already, aerially strong. That block was amazing because that could have been the difference to winning and drawing a game today. Good on the ball, carried the ball well, defended well. I'm happy with the way he's performing, Tosin. I want to see him next to Colwell with his next couple of games against Fulham and Ipswich. So for me, I'll give him an 8. I'll give him an 8, Easily an 8 or an 8.5. I thought he was very, very good, Tosin. And yeah, let him and Colwell build that partnership. Put natural win backs. We've got Kukurea back in next game. Obviously, that means Gusto can go back to his right position. We'll have that balance again. So it's important that we have that balance, But for me, very, very good. We then move on from him to Colwell. Now, barring Colwell having that bit of a crazy moment for the chance where he went forward with the ball and he lost it, and we got caught in behind, and they nearly scored. That's when Tosin made that block. barring that moment where he got caught off the ball, Colwill was all right. Colwill was, driving balls, trying to find balls into the forward line. Defensively, okay with him and Tosin. Probably not as good as Tosin for me. I'd probably say 6.5 for Colwill because I've seen him in better terms. But yeah, he continues to stay fit and he continues to perform. So for me, Colwill, not too bad. Not too bad at all. And then we move on to Gusto. And again, like Gusto shouldn't be playing left back, but he is a natural winger. I don't like Gusto playing in the pockets higher up. I've made that very clear. I don't like seeing Gusto in them pockets. We shouldn't be seeing Gusto in them higher up pockets because, like we saw when Jackson missed in front of goal with the first chance, he was wasteful on the return of it. That was not good enough. And then when he's receiving the ball in them pockets where Enzo usually is, he's having to make them passes, executional passes, and he can't do it. He breaks our play down. What we did with him in the second half is what the instruction should have been at the beginning. And that's why I keep pointing the finger at Maresca, because I know he's got the energy to get up and down. But there's no point of him being that far up when he hasn't got the IQ for me. He's not good in front of goal. He hasn't got the IQ to do it. 5 for me. Again, I don't blame our defence today. I don't look at our defence and say they were poor. So that's why I'm kind of flying through them at the moment. But it's hard to blame Abs when your instruction of him is not one that he's used to, That's my issue with it. The instruction that we give him isn't one that he's used to doing. So, yeah. I'm going to move on from Gusto to Caicedo, who, I'll be quite honest with you, I thought was okay. He was Caicedo, getting stuck in the midfield, getting, winning challenges high, doing his thing. It wasn't his vintage Caicedo performances. I'd probably give him a 6.5, 6.5. But, they tried to press us in the midfield and try and play further up the pitch. And this is why we dropped Enzo next to Caicedo so that we could attract him out and try and play the balls into the pockets. But there was a problem doing that because the people that were playing in the pockets or trying to make runs off the side weren't really, one of them weren't really to the level for me. And we're going to obviously talk about it as well. But when we did, and we played that quick ball into Jackson and he flicked it into Palmer, and then Palmer took that awful shot in the first half, like you could see what we were trying to do. But Caicedo for me, 6.5, 6.5 easily. Which leads me on to Enzo Fernandez, who created a great ball outside of the football to Jackson on the first on one of the chances. He created the good corner into Jackson for the header, which he didn't convert. In the second half, he was pinging balls into Palmer because he was playing closer up there, further up the pitch, which is where I want to see him now. And Palmer was winning free kicks in dangerous areas. Enzo Fernandez was just getting us ticking today. It was just, and he was trying to create for us and put us in the right positions. We just wasn't, the forward line just wasn't doing it. It just wasn't ticking, Doesn't matter what we were trying to do, we just wasn't ticking. I think he was a little bit better than Caicedo today, from my opinion. I know he had that bad challenge where they had a chance with Mark Gray in the first half, but probably a 7, 6.5, 7. I think both of them were sort of about 6.5, 7. I don't think they were bad today, Enzo and Caicedo. They were fine in there for me. Maybe the instruction could have been a little bit different, but yeah, not the worst performance, not the worst performance. From that, we move on to the attack, which is where I want to talk. Keep smashing the likes, guys. Subscribe if you're new. Share it out as well. Cole Palmer. I don't think he was good today. I was saying this in the chat. I thought he was wasteful with the ball. I thought he's passing, which he's usually good at, very doing. Timing his passes wasn't up to the level. I thought his crosses from corners from the right wasn't good enough. I thought there was good little moments of him in the second half where he got more involved and was beating players 1-2, getting around him, and they were just throwing every man they could find in front of him to stop him. Yeah, there were moments. He just wasn't to the level as what we used to see with Cole Palmer. I'm going to give him a 4 today. Easily a 4. I don't think he was good enough. He just wasn't ticking. And obviously we won't take him off because he's Cole Palmer. And listen, he sets his own levels for me. But today he just wasn't at it. That's the right word. He just wasn't at it for me. And this is why we're kind of flying through it today, because it's only a draw. And there were some baddish performances, but we got the point. But yeah, I just expect a bit more from Cole Palmer, to be quite honest with you, in this game. But it is what it is. The guy can't obviously play to the levels every single game. And that's why we need other individuals on the team when they're created for in moments or make moments to take chances. This is what it's about. And we have been doing that. We've been making chances, creating them for ourselves, and people have been contributing in doing that. So, at the end of the day, as poor as he was for me today in moments, others, we still had chances. You know what I mean? We still had chances. And that leads us to the attack. Now, I thought Neto was probably better off the right than maybe Sancho was off the left in the first half. The second half, I thought Sancho had Ashley Young, got him a yellow card or whatever. But I thought Neto, I like Neto. I like Neto how direct he is. I like the way that he tries to get in behind. He attacks the spaces. Won some free kicks on the right with some good ability. But it's very hard for him to... It's very hard for him and Sancho today because the defense was unbalanced. Disasi couldn't go and support him, which means he was literally left on his own to create. He was literally left on his own to try and beat people and make spaces, which means that we needed our tens to be more creative for our wingers because we couldn't rely on the wing backs to invert comfortably or support to come over to the right and things like that. But he still didn't have a bad game today for me now. I would probably give him a 6. I'd probably give him a 6. 6, 7, between the 6 and the 7 for me, easily. We move away from Neto onto Sancho. And again, I don't think it was Sancho's greatest game today. However, I don't think he had a bad game. I thought he was effective in moments, gave Ashley Young a lot of problems. Good player. He is a good player. Anything with him is he's not direct enough. He doesn't want to attack the space. He wants the ball to feet all the time. And I think today we needed Madueke and Neto to attack the spaces later. Start with Sancho. If it's not working, play with direct, attack the spaces, go in behind. Again, looking at Enzo Maresca. This is where, we'll talk about him in a bit after we've gone through the players, but we had a good enough squad to go and win the game today. But when it wasn't working out and you could see it wasn't ticking to the level that we used to see him, he needs to make changes. He didn't really do that, and the changes he did make, I wasn't 100% like, oh, wow, yay, I'm going to talk about them in a bit. But Sancho, yeah, look, gave Ashley Young some problems. Wasn't really effective enough in the final third. Usually he's, playing cutting balls through and blah, blah, blah. And we weren't really seeing that today, So I'm going to give him a 5, 6 again for me. Very average overall performance. And then it goes on to Nicholas Jackson, who I'm going to give a 3. Probably a 2. Probably the worst because he had the chances today. He had 2 of our best chances in front of goal. And he was wasteful. 2 of our best chances. Liverpool scored. Oh, shit, nearly. And he was wasteful. And we saw a bit of it against Brentford, and we've seen it today. We do need another striker. And Nkunku, for whatever reasons, doesn't get given enough minutes to come on and play as a striker. So go and get an actual striker that you can actually switch him with. Because Enzo Maresca said himself, I don't see Nkunku as a striker, but we've got too many options in the wingers and in the tens. So we utilise him as a striker. So, okay, that means you're going to get rid of some of the wingers and tens. Is Nkunku one of them? But then it means we also need a striker. And I keep saying we are not ready to title challenge yet. We're not in that position to do that. And this is partly of the reason why, in moments where Sanchez kept us in it, we needed Jackson to take his chances. Yeah, that's the difference. And he didn't do that today for me. He didn't do that today for me at all. But yeah, I'll probably give him a 3, guys. Probably easily give him a 3. What Spurs doing? I'll watch Spurs game in a second. And then it goes on to talking about, we want to talk about the manager's team. Because look, the one thing I would say about Enzo Maresca up to this point is he's got everything right. In terms of setup, in terms of Joe, before we do that, let's bring up this comment from Con because he's spot on here. What he's saying, he says, how many of us had Chelsea being shit? Liverpool needs scored. How many of us had Chelsea being second at Christmas? Today was frustrating, but it is what it is. These games happen to every team, not just us. Up the Chelsea. I agree. Facts. I agree with that. However, these are the games that you need to win if you're going to challenge for titles. That's it. And we ain't stupid enough to say that we are ready to go and win a title because we're not. We're not at that position to go and do that. So, yeah, for me, I wanted to quickly talk about. Let's listen to what Maresca said anyway. He says, I'm absolutely happy, more happy than the Brentford game. It's a tricky game, tricky stadium, tricky team. They're one of the 5 best teams defensively in Europe in terms of clean sheets. Give that to them. Yeah, they were Everton today. They made it very hard. It was a disgusting low block. You know, they were falling over, trying to get free kicks. They made it very hard, a bit like the Brentford game. And we just didn't really have the answer to it today. And that was because I still think that we just didn't play to the levels that we've seen Chelsea playing. I think it was very on and off. We did create chances. We didn't take them. 2 very stonewall good chances that landed to Nicholas Jackson. Other than that, we didn't really carry it through, you know? And that's the only thing I would say with Maresca. Like, we didn't, you know, we should have been more threatening. We should have been more quicker with our tempo. Should have been more, you know, creating for ourselves, openings. We weren't doing that. We haven't been doing that today. And that's partly because of the way we set up and partly because of the balance as well, you know? But talking about Maresca, let's go to Maresca quickly before we go. And then finish it off. Like I said, it's only a short one today. I thought the lineup was a little bit sketchy, personally, especially when you had Vega on the bench. Now, people seem to think that the reason he played Gusto was because of his energy up and down the pitch. I don't think we needed that. I just think we needed someone to sit next to Caicedo and Vega. Strong enough to do that, in my opinion. And then you put Gusto on the right. And you allow Gusto just to be that, you know, that third, if that means. And also being able to support Neto more, because he will get up and down the pitch, create space, which creates spaces for others. He chose not to. Fair enough. Who am I to question him? Because everything he's done up to this point now has been pretty much spot on. Hard to criticize him in that instance. However, today I felt like he partly has part to be blamed for it because his substitutions were too late for me in the game, and his decisions and substitutions were a bit weird. He made the right decision of switching Gusto with Enzo, I feel, when that needs to happen, which meant Gusto would just sit more next to Caicedo and let Enzo occupy, which I thought was better. But, you know, he took Neto off and put Madueke, all right, like for like, in terms of being direct, and he took Jackson off, who, all right, we brought on in Nkunku. Me personally, I would have took one of the centre backs off at that time. I know people will go, well, whoa, that's a bit risky, but no, it's not. You play 3 at the back. You had the 2 guys inverting, 2 guys in midfield, and then you add another attacker to the team. And I would have left Neto on. I'd have put Enzo back further forward. I would have probably put Madueke on for. So what I would have probably done, what did you bring on Nkunku Madueke? I would have bought on Madueke, and I would probably have took off the Sassy, and then I would have put. Then what I would have done was I would have put Gusto back in his right position, asked Cole to be left, had your 3 there, put Caicedo there with Enzo, and then let Enzo be a bit further forward, but you know, back and forwards. And then I would have just put Neto, Madueke, Palmer, Sancho, and then whoever up front, Jackson or Nkunku, and just gone a little bit more gun ho because I just felt like we didn't really pull them around too much, you know. However, there's a lot of what we could have done, should have done, blah 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 blah. At the end of the day, but we didn't lose. And like Con said, every club in Premier League has these moments. So you know, we move. We've got Fulham next on Boxing Day. Then we've got Ipswich a couple of days after. Let's go and get 6 points. Let's going to react. And then we'll see where we are now. Tottenham are playing Liverpool currently as we speak. It's 0-0 at the moment. I'm going to go and watch that now. We've done 40 minutes, guys. Like I said to you, it's only a short one today, guys. We're only doing a short one. We will be back for the Fulham game for maybe a reaction for that. like I said, 40 minutes. Quick one. Let's go and watch the football. Up the Chelsea, we keep moving. It's a point gained on Man City. Remember that as well. Make sure you smash the likes and let us know what your thoughts were in the comments below in the games. But yeah, big up, guys. Take care of yourself, and we'll see you again soon. Peace.